Good evening, baseball fans, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Bullpen Bulletin here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. It has been a wild week in baseball, lots of crazy news, some dubious records being tied, and unfortunately, a good amount of injuries going around the league as well. Some pretty significant ones being announced over the last couple of days. But of course, I am not here by myself to discuss it. I have my co-host who is sticking with me here. We are now on episode 7 of season 2, and he's been with us every step of the way. Please welcome man taking a break from the NHL playoffs, now into the second round, I believe, finally, officially. But we have Freddie B here with us. Good evening, sir. How are you doing?
Doing great, Mike. Thank you for having me again. Oh, look at that. I love
There
it.
we go. Hey.
Awesome. Yeah, man. It's been great. A wonderful week of baseball. We've seen it's weird. In the game of baseball, you think you've seen it all, and then just something is all, there's always a new page to be turned. And we saw a couple of interesting stats, some records over this past week. The games have been great. I still can't decide who's going to take certain divisions. There's still so much uncertainty. I mean, teams that were hot went on, streaks and vice versa. So a lot going on, and let's get right into it, Mike. I know I got the game on in the background here. Your Yankees and Orioles.
Yep. I don't like that runner on third base right there, but we'll see how the rest of the inning plays out. Like Freddie said, we're going to jump right into it. But of course, before we do so, if you are a fan of the show here, please do follow us on X. You can follow yours truly at IESR_DMV and Freddie at FreddieB_sports. And with that, we are going to jump into our score update. He mentions that Yankees-Orioles game. We'll start with that one, as that is 3-1 in the bottom of the sixth. The Yankees threatening to try to score again here. Runners on second and third. We shall see if the Orioles can get out of that without too much damage. We do have one final in the books for the day. The Mets beating the Rockies. Much needed win for the Mets there as they win 4-2. That game must have started at an awkward time because it has been finished for a while. So I don't know what time that started there in Colorado. Must have, but hey, they wrapped it up. Yeah. We also had a game just go final, the Rays and the Blue Jays. The Rays defeating the Blue Jays 5-1. They wrapped that one up there in Tampa. Other games across the league, we have the Red Sox and Tigers facing off. That one 5-4. The Red Sox lead it in the top of the ninth. Interestingly enough, 5-4. Red Sox with 12 hits, the Tigers with 3. So hey, talk about efficiency there for the Tigers. We've got Phillies at Marlins. Phillies leading 1-0. That one in the top of the ninth. Phillies looking to complete the shutout there. We've got the Guardians and Royals squaring off in Kansas City. That one 4-2 in the bottom of the sixth. We have the Reds and Cubs tied at 0-0. That one just entering the top of the second. The Brewers are at the Cardinals. That one is 4-0 in the top of the fifth. And the Dodgers facing off against the Astros. That one 5-2 in the top of the third. We also have the White Sox facing off against the Angels later on tonight, as well as Braves at Mariners. I'm sure we're going to talk about the Braves, one of the hottest teams in baseball. They are nearly unstoppable right now. And then the Padres, who we're actually going to talk about here in about 15 seconds, they face off against the San Francisco Giants. And that could not have been a better game to end on, because the Padres are our first headline of the evening, as it was announced this past Saturday that the Padres ownership would sell the majority interest, to be specific, in the team. The former ownership group, which was previously led by Peter Seidler before his passing a couple of years ago, have agreed to sell what is being described as a majority equity stake in the team to billionaire private equity moguls Jose E. Feliciano and Kwanzaa Jones, which, stop me if you've heard private equity buy something in the last 5 years. I don't think that's going to shock anybody. This move had been being discussed by the Padres. They had been exploring this for a little while since the former owner's passing. And apparently, a record MLB record $3.9 billion transaction. So, Freddie, what are your thoughts on this? That's some good dollar valuing for the Padres there.
Yeah, 3.9 billion. That it is exceeded the highest purchase team before in the New York Mets at 2.4 billion. So yeah, the San Diego Padres definitely have made some money down there in San Diego, and they've produced some pretty good teams over the last few years. Big contracts there as well. They don't have a TV deal. Maybe it's something they can work out with this new ownership group, kind of coming in and see what happens. But yeah, I think it was going to happen. There had been talks about it, obviously, since the passing of Peter, that this was going to be down the pipeline. And I think, it should be good. It's so funny that the Padres are the ones that are, going through an ownership change when the team up the road in Anaheim could definitely use an ownership change. And yeah, we'll see what happens with this. Padres, playing really good baseball right now, just sitting a half a game behind the Dodgers in the NL West. So yeah, let's see, how they manage the team going forward. And, you had a situation like you talked about before the show, Mike, in which the Orioles were recently purchased. How did that go for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, potentially slightly different situations. I'm not familiar with how fans of San Diego felt about ownership post Peter Seidler's passing. I know that when Peter Angelos passed away and his son John Angelos, I think I'm getting the names right. I might be flipping the two father-son combination. The father was a rather beloved figure in Baltimore sports. Everybody was a big fan of him. His health had been deteriorating for some time, and then he finally passed away. And his son seemed to have absolutely zero interest in being involved in a team. In fact, there is a famous clip floating around the internet of the son. There's a clip, and this is from when the Orioles were on their hot streak, right? This was back in 2023, early 2024, when they were the prime of all baseball. I think I want to say specifically 2023. There was some very exciting thing happened in the game. Maybe they came from behind to take a late lead. The crowd's roaring, everybody's cheering, and it pans to the ownership box, and there's the son on his phone facing away from the field. So everybody was happy to be rid of the son. However, people have not exactly been fans of what the ownership group has done since the transaction. So I think fans have definitely evolved. Just because you're replacing the previous guy doesn't mean we're gonna like you for about a week, and then we're gonna start actually criticizing the job.
That's the one thing that they mentioned, is that they vow to bring a World Series to San Diego. This team and this city is deserving of a championship, having never won a professional sports, championship. With the Chargers were there for a long time, and they end up moving back to LA. The Padres have never won a World Series. They need something, and if this group vows to produce that, then I'm all for it, as long as it produces the results. The ticket prices and all that stuff don't astronomically skyrocket where you're at the point where you can't even afford to go to a game. There's a lot that goes into running an organization. So I think the Padres have the right leadership at the top, and Eric Grupner and has done a really good job running a lot of the stuff there as well. AJ Preller, maybe they can work together and bring in some pieces come, end of the season. There's some contracts, that are pretty bad. Some guys that aren't playing well right now. Let's see what happens over the next, 3 to 4 weeks, I think, as we get closer to the summertime.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be, the first challenge. The challenge with new ownership in Baltimore was, well, you need to now go spend money, because that was the critique of the old ownership, is that
Mhm.
for many, many years they had not been spending any money. And when they did spend the money, it was in the wrong place, Chris Davis. But now you've got the Padres where they have been spending a lot of money, but the results have not necessarily been there at the end of the day. So that's going to be the key, is translating that, getting the right pieces in to
You think
win a World Series.
and good on the Seidler family. They ran this organization tremendously while they were there. And
Mhm.
Peter Seidler
Absolutely.
bought the team for 800 million, and then ends the family ends up selling it for 3.9. So that's a huge rate of return right there. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
too
yeah.
shabby.
You five extra money, take out a couple of expenses. Everybody probably
Sure.
walks away happy in that one, for sure, for sure. I have a couple of clients at my job that could use a little bit of a lesson on how to do that to some of their money.
Exactly.
But we digress. We're here to talk baseball, not business. Anyways, so next topic, kind of a little bit of a more somber topic, unfortunately. Longtime Yankees radio voice
Mm.
John Sterling passed away this past weekend. John Sterling had been the Yankees radio voice for, gosh, I'm looking at the numbers here, at least 30, was it 35
Yeah,
years,
I think he started in
about,
the
give
mid
or take.
80s. Yeah, or
Yeah.
1989, I think it was that he started, something
Yep,
like that.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. He called a total of 5,420 regular season games and 211 postseason games. I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Um, and including 5,060 consecutive games, which, if you want to call Cal Ripken the Iron Man, I
Yeah.
think you got to give
I,
John
I
Sterling some props as the Iron Man of voice calling. Now, Sterling had retired in 2024, so he was not a current player, but still beloved around the baseball world nonetheless. Freddie, your thoughts on this one?
Oh man, I mean, we've had a lot of great broadcasters call games in Major League Baseball. Here, especially Los Angeles, we had the great Vin Scully calling
Mm-hmm.
games for 60 years, and John Sterling, 5,600 consecutive games. He broadcast every single one of Derek Jeter's 3,000 plus games played as well.
That's
That's
amazing.
incredible. That's a really cool stat that he was there calling every single game. And I mean, he really made his name known when the Yankees had those runs late 90s into the 2000s, all those home run calls and the Jambino and Burn Baby Burn for Bernie Williams. And I mean, there's so many, but my favorite is the Yankees win.
The classic, absolutely.
Uh,
I think the 211 postseason games, that's incredible to think. Over 35 years, you're talking about an average of about six a season.
yeah,
And that's
that's
assuming every season. How many
sure.
teams can say that they've been to 211 postseason games
Yeah,
in a stretch
exactly.
in a 35-year stretch? That's absolutely incredible. Great for him to have that experience. He will be missed, a beloved member of the Yankees family, organization, and baseball in general, for sure.
Yeah.
Now we get to we had some uplifting news with the sale of the Padres. We had some down news with the death of John Sterling. This is just, I guess you could say, we just had the good, the bad, and the ugly now
Oh, okay.
with this thing. So this past weekend, the Reds. Now I'm gonna, we'll take you through what happens here. So Reds against Pirates. This one was on Saturday as well, and the Reds tied a major league record by issuing 7 consecutive walks in their 17-7 loss to the Pittsburgh Pirates. And I'm trying to bring up the stats here so we can kind of break it down for you. There we go. So
Yeah.
it was Reds starting pitcher Rhett Lauder
Rhett
is the one that
Lauder.
kicked off the
Mhm.
streak with 3 walks. This was all in the second inning, by the way, for context for everybody. And this was after, by the way, that Louder had given up 5 runs in the first inning. So just overall, just a very forgettable day for Louder in his young pitching career.
Yeah.
So then he turns around and he walks the first 3 batters, I believe it was, of the inning. They pull him. They're like, "Yep, you've had enough. You're done." Then relief pitcher, trying to get his full name here, Connor Phillips, comes in and walks the next 4 batters, does not record it out, and then they have to bring in the 3rd pitcher of the game in the 2nd inning in Sam Mull. Now, Sam Mull does get the last couple outs. I guess if you want to say he minimized the damage, sure, but at that point, it was 10-3. Pittsburgh would actually go on to tag on 5 more runs in the 4th and make it a 17. Overall, the final score was 17-7. So, I guess, at some point you gotta laugh at it, right? Unless you're a Reds fan or you're one of these 2 unfortunate pitchers that just tie history. Props to the Pirates, by the way, for remaining participant through the whole thing.
Exactly.
Just letting it go. By the time you get to the 5th guy, you're just standing there with the bat on the shoulder.
Probably,
right?
That's what you tell the kids in Little League that are no good and the pitcher can't throw a strike. Hey, just stand there and don't swing, right?
Exactly.
Because you're gonna end up getting walked. But yeah, 7 in a row. That's incredible. That stat there hasn't been that happening in 43 years. So that, it's been a long time since that happened. And rough outgoing there for Reds pitching that whole weekend. Pretty rough, on the Reds as well. Really, I mean, that NL Central right now, everybody's playing over 500 baseball, really good games.
Right.
And I don't know if we'll see this again. This year, I'm sure we'll see it again at some point, but 7 in a row, it may take another 43 years for that to happen. But
and I mean, the Reds make the right move, right? The guy walks 3 in a row, you pull him. That was the right move. Now, of course, they probably couldn't foresee the next guy coming in and walking the next 4 either. So that's crazy. But hey, look, the Reds, the consolation, unfortunately, they've won 3 lost 3 in a row, and unfortunately, those 3 came at division rival the Pirates. But they're still 20-14. They're still, well in the race, and it does make the NL Central more comical because the Pirates are still in last place, but they're 3 games above 500 thanks to this series. Overall, that's a pretty crazy division.
Mike, I'm going to switch gears, but keep it on the walks. Nick Kurz of the Oakland A's had a 20-game walk streak that was snapped over the weekend as well. That tied him for 2nd all-time with Barry Bonds at 20 games. 22 was the record, and that was set back in 1947 by Roy Cullenbine. Cullenbine back in 1947.
I was not going to be able. If you had asked me, I would not have pulled Roy Cullenbine. I think I would have thought Barry Bonds from that one season after the record where he was been intentionally walked. I would have thought he would have had a 162 game streak, to be honest with you. But I think this is a perfect segue, by the way, to jump us into our week in review with that record by Kurtz. We also had another record that you noted with Ildemario Vargas. Why don't you tell us about that one as well?
Yeah, he had started this season on a 27-game hitting streak. So that's the 2nd longest streak in MLB to start a season at 27 games. So, this has been a crazy season with some of these stats that we're seeing so far. The walks in an inning. I mean, the hitting streak. What else? What's going to be the next one that falls? I don't know. I mean, Jose Soriano already had pitching records broken through his first 5 starts, and then we gave him the jinx, and he went out there and gave a couple of runs. Same with Mason Miller. That same night after our show, Mike, Mason Miller comes out in a non-save situation and gave up his first 2 runs of the season. So we did give that jinx to the guy. We knew that was going to happen.
Bulletin jinx is just it's going strong. Maybe in a couple of weeks, we'll go back and review our picks for division winners, and I think we'll see a theme there potentially as well. minus the Dodgers, of course, because I don't think anybody could jinx the Dodgers out of
Well,
their performances.
let's focus on, you talk about strong performances. The Atlanta Braves this past weekend outscoring the Rockies in Colorado. Obviously, the altitude and everything like that, but this is the Braves team that have the best record in baseball right now, outscoring the Rockies. I think it was like 28-11 or something like that. I didn't have the Rockies numbers here, but 28 runs scored in 3 games in that series for the Braves, and they are mashing the ball right now. And you talk about injuries. Ronald Acuna Jr. kind of came up a little bit limp, so I think he's suffering with an injury right now. But yeah, the Braves, the hottest team in baseball, great pitching, and they are mashing the ball offensively.
Yeah, it was currently being described as a hamstring strain. So they
Yeah,
haven't diagnosed it as anything like a tear or anything, but it didn't look great when it happened
that's the
live.
that's the
So
that's the thing. The hamstring is such a tough injury because you don't know exactly when it's ready to come back, and you try to push it too
right,
soon, and that will keep you out, and that could end up costing you a season. We saw that happen with Trout. He had hamstring injuries in the past, also calf injuries for Mike Trout. But yeah, Acuna Jr., I mean, he's just starting to get in the groove of things. Yeah, I think he has like 2 homers right now. He's starting to hit the ball with everybody else on this Braves team. But for him to go down, let's just hope he's healthy. The
yeah.
Braves are well on their way to winning the NL East right now. So as long as they just keep playing, hopefully they can get Ronald Acuna back. If it takes, a longer time for him, as long as he's healthy, and they need him for the
Right.
postseason run.
Absolutely. Chris Lehman joining us in the
All
chat.
right.
Go Yanks up 6-1. All right, enough of that. Enough of that. Get that comment out of here. We don't need any of that in here. But yeah, I mean, and the good news about the Acuna injuries, the Braves, I mean, it sucks that he might miss a little bit of time, but shoot, 25-10, 9-game lead already in the National League
Yes.
East. Plus 80, like if there is a time where it's like, okay, Acuna, you take your time to get back, we got this. You know, this is the team. And I was looking at some of their stats, some of their numbers so far this year, just absolutely incredible.
Look,
Matt
yeah.
batting 299 with a 1.029 OPS. Insane start for him. Drake Baldwin hitting well. Ozzy Albies hitting phenomenally. Michael Harris hitting incredible. Like just all these guys just absolutely crushing it.
The guy who's not up there on stats is Dom Smith, because he doesn't have enough plate appearances, I think, right now. But he's hitting 333 and with 11 homers. I'm sorry, not 11 homers. I got
4
the
homers
stats here. 4 homers.
Yep.
And 17 RBIs. He's driving the ball. That's something that the Mets wish they would have had back when he was with them. And now, seeing him, being successful in half the time, half the plate appearances as some of those other guys on the roster. I mean, they're getting contributions from everywhere. And when you talk about Mike Yastrzemski being, the 8th top hitter, still producing as well for the Braves right now, batting 200, but he's going to have some playing time now, depending on, the significance of Acuna's injury.
Yep. Even you've got other bench guys as well. Jonah Heim has been hitting pretty well for them. Jorge Mateo has been doing well. I'm sure they'll figure out some way to fit the right guy into the lineup to fill Acuna's spot there, and I think they'll keep rolling just fine.
I
So
think
yeah.
so.
So who are some of the other teams you were highlighting this week?
Well,
Slash players, team/players.
Team/players. Well, the Cubs were very good this past week. I got to watch them as they played in San Diego earlier last week. Cubs are a really good team. They've got good pitching. I like their lineup a lot. I think we both picked the Cubs to probably win the NL Central. I don't remember if you did as well, but I think we both did. Yeah, they're looking good right now. And again, that division is so tough. Everybody is over 500. I like to see how they, play as we go. They've got a big series, going on against the Reds. So divisional matchup. for the Cubbies. So we'll see what happens. But they're one of the teams that's been great. It's so funny. This kind of happened last year as well during the last couple of weeks of the season. Is the Dodgers and Padres, as they were both fighting for the division in the West, they would win on the same days, lose on the same days. And we saw this over the last 6 days here. San Diego was a half a game behind the Dodgers. They both win the first game. They go on 4-game losing streaks and just win on Sunday, having made up 0 ground. But talking about the Dodgers, one thing I want to kind of talk about is, Shohei Ohtani. This is one of the biggest slumps that we've seen Ohtani offensively in, 0 for 14 coming into tonight. I don't know what he has done tonight. Let's see if I can try to pull up.
Tonight, 0 for 2 with a walk, 2 runs scored though, and an RBI somehow.
So 0 for his last 16 now. So 0 for his last 16. What was he doing pitching wise?
I have not seen. Let's see.
He's not pitching tonight. Sorry, it's Sasaki.
Yeah.
But he is going to be pitching against the Astros in this series.
Pitching wise, this year he has 5 starts, 5 quality starts, and a .6 ERA.
0.6 ERA. He is going to be facing off against his Astros lineup in this series. I think it might be tomorrow night. But the Dodgers had lost a couple of games. They lost a series to the Marlins. They also, didn't play very well. But we'll see. Those teams still very good in my opinion. But for San Diego, they get on these streaks where they can pull off a few wins, and then they play a couple of really stinkers. They, losing 2 to the Cubs and then losing 2 to the White Sox. But it's Fernando Tatis, the man on the hat here, that I am concerned with. Defensively, he's still fantastic. Whether he's playing right field or if they have him, playing occasionally now at second base, it's his power has gone down. He has no home runs still this season, and I don't know what is happening with him. They've dropped him all throughout the lineup. He was batting leadoff, second spot. I think he was hitting 6th or 8th a couple of times as well. So I would like to see something start producing, offensively for Tatis, because, the guys on MLB Network and stuff like that are saying, does he need a change of scenery? Is that something that he needs? But we'll see what happens. The Yankees still doing really well, and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays or the Rays playing with the Yanks and looking really good. I think they beat Toronto tonight, right? Or they were not Toronto. Who are they playing?
Yeah, no, you got it right. Yeah, that game had just gone final when we went live.
Yeah, so big for them. Staying pace up there in the NL, the American League East with the Yankees. Good stuff going on. What about you, Mike? What's caught your attention?
Yeah, so one team that I'm starting to know is kind of creeping up a little bit, starting to recover from their rough stretch here. The Philadelphia Phillies, now 7-3 in their last 10. They have separated themselves a little bit from the Mets and have pretty solidly caught up to the Marlins and the Nationals, and they actually beat the Marlins tonight.
They win that series. They win that series. They can find themselves in second place.
Yep, exactly. You start working your way up. Now, the National League as a whole, it's going to be tougher to work up because, again, you've got all those teams in the Central, and then, of course, you've got the Dodgers and Padres out west. But, you've got a ton of baseball left. So if you're going to, find a way to kick it into high gear, now is the time. Also, a couple of, we'll say a couple of NL Central teams. The Royals, who had a surprisingly bad start, one that I was not expecting. They've won 7 of their last 10, and the White Sox also 7 of their last 10, condensing an NL Central to where if you put, or the AL Central to where if you put the NL Central on top of the AL Central, just like that, just lined up the teams just like that, they would go exactly
perfectly in order
of ranking. So the AL Central kind of proving what everybody thought at the beginning of the season, that this division ain't that good, and it might be getting a little bit worse with Tyreek Skubal going down for Detroit.
Yes.
That's not good. I've noticed a handful of pretty significant injuries. What injury have you? And I know you mentioned Acuna. What other injuries have you noticed this past week?
An already struggling and depleted Angels bullpen and roster right now. Kikuchi going down possibly for the rest of the season as well. You lose your number 2 or 3 starter with a team that's already, playing terrible. They were able to salvage one against the Mets. It was a battle of the worst 2 teams in each division, in each league this past weekend in Anaheim. Kikuchi could be out for a while. I don't know, what's happening with the Angels. But to touch on your point real quick with the Phillies, they made the managerial change, I think, the next day after our show last Monday, and they're going on this run. I think the Phillies are good. They're still a really good team. The roster, the lineup is still there. They still have the pitching. That's going to come around. But something I would look forward to, and something that I think we might hear some rumors picking up, might be maybe them possibly making a move for Mike Trout, bringing him to Philadelphia.
Yeah, that could be that would be a move that I could see the Phillies doing, trying to, kick the tread. And, if you want to talk, money wise, they certainly have salaries that they could dump. Now, I know MLB does not have that rule, and some leagues do, some leagues don't. I think it's mainly the NBA that has the salary matching rule in general.
Right.
So in MLB, you don't necessarily have to match salaries, but I think if you're the Phillies and you're a team that already has some rather inflated salaries, if you were to try to bring on Trout, you'd probably send one of their bigger contracts back. Now, who could that be? Could it be a Bryce Harper if they wanted to finally move on from Harper? Could it be, he's really the only, would they entertain the idea of moving off of Trey Turner if they had a replacement waiting in the wings? I know they have Edmundo Sosa, who they've used as a utility man, but he can play shortstop if they find like the suitable replacement. So could that be the opportunity for them to change up this roster in a way where, maybe the Angels, if they're moving off of Trout, would be willing to take on one of these beefier salaries as part of the deal, because most people don't tend to like to do that. Now, I will make a call out of some poor play. At one point, you mentioned the Dodgers and the Padres winning and then going on their losing streaks. Well, before their wins, their recent victories, there was one point this past week where everybody in the National League West had a 3-game or longer losing streak. Now, the bottom 3 teams still do, but overall, that's that division has not had their greatest success over the past week or so. Also, I think we kind of touched on, a little bit, the Angels, were kind of surprising us a little bit early with a little bit of competitiveness. Now,
not anymore.
Their last 10. The Mets continue to stink it up.
Yeah. And both of those teams, we're talking, potential, managerial fires. Could Kurt Suzuki, in his first term here with the Angels, he's already on a hot seat. Was it Mendoza in New York? Is that who that is? I think he's on the hot seat already. We'll see what happens. I just saw something pop up on social media on the Angels, like chat rooms and stuff like that. The fans are going to be holding a protest May 23rd outside of the stadium. So if you want to join in, I don't know how many people are going to attend that, but I'd like to see how that goes. That might be kind of interesting.
Well, I will be there in spirit. I will be with family and cousins. So I will be rawing. I love it. I love a good fan protest when the team has earned it. Like, I was very, very supportive of athletics fans protesting the team when they decided to move from Oakland. I was like, that's fair. That's a move that you would make. Go for it.
While we're already kicking a dead horse here in the Angels, let's not forget
kick. There we go.
Let's not forget that the guy that the Angels released in order to sign Tim Anderson is having a fantastic start to the season right now, and that's Mickey Moniak with the Rockies. He's hitting .333. He's got 11 homers, 21 RBIs. It's good to see that kid, having a good season. Kind of a surprise right now with the power. Obviously, when you're playing in Colorado, though, you do have that. But, I mean, the Yankees are mashing. Ben Rice has got 12 bombs. Aaron Judge now leads with 14. They're starting to do their thing. Yankees could definitely hit with the best of them. You can see tonight, putting runs up against the O's.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So with that, let's go ahead and move on to our upcoming matchups to watch, looking ahead towards the weekend here. Just taking a quick gander up at the schedule. Any matchups that stand out? Any matchups that you've kind of seen on the horizon that bring some intrigue to you? There's one big one that really stands out.
Which is that?
That would be the Dodgers and the Braves matching up.
I'm sorry, I didn't scroll down that far. Yeah,
Dodgers. In LA. Man, what a series that is going to be. I'm looking at the pitching matchups to see what we got. None of the huge, although Robleski is having a fantastic season for the Dodgers. He gets the bump on Sunday against Richie. An interesting matchup on Saturday. You have Spencer Strider making his second start, coming back from the injured list, going up against Roki Sasaki, who continues to have his major league struggle. So that game might be 12-10. We'll see how that one goes down.
It very well could be. Yeah.
Chris Sale gets the bump on Friday, so that's great for the Braves. Any other matchups pop out to you?
You know what? Not a whole lot. I'm looking at down the list of all these games. You've got some, Pirates and Giants. I could care less about that. The game I might be interested in watching this weekend would be the Yankees in Milwaukee against the Brewers. Yep. That's a really good, interleague matchup right there. You got two, really strong teams. The Brewers playing very good as well. They're right up there in that NL Central that we keep talking about. And I think that's going to be a good challenge for the Yankees. Tough road, to play in Milwaukee right there. Yeah. Sitting at 18-5 record wise. I think that's a good series to look out for. And obviously, like you said, that Dodgers Braves, I think, has the marquee of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Also liking this Cardinals Padres matchup. I think that's going to be a good one there.
Surprising
in San Diego.
How well the Cardinals are doing right now.
Yeah, the Cardinals off to a fantastic start. And I've been curious of this. Let's see, there was a series, this Angels Blue Jay series. I've been curious of the pitching matchups because both teams have surprisingly good names on their rotations. And they've got the Blue Jays have Dylan Cease going on Friday against Reed Detmers. And then Trey Savage goes on Saturday for them, the World Series. Well, not quite hero because they didn't win it, but, he still pitched well for them. And then Soriano makes his way around the bump on Sunday for the Angels. But yeah,
some pretty good series.
Yeah, it should be a very good series. And then the Phillies at home against the Rockies, another opportunity for them to keep their role going. And who knows? Maybe the Rockies can put some things together right there in Philadelphia. That will do it for the first half of our show. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to go down to the farm to see what minor league baseball headlines we have. And then, of course, we have to check in on our college sports. A lot of interesting action going on in softball that we have to catch up on. So do not go away. You are listening to the Bullpen Bulletin here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm. single-A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go. For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back to the Bullpen Bulletin here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We did have Brian Francione jumping in the chat room. The Red Sox won a game with no fans in the stands. I guess we're jumping back to 2020, circa COVID style wins there. But they did actually, and that's a perfect segue to check in on our scores. As we mentioned earlier, the Mets, Rockies, and Rays, Blue Jays had already gone final. We mentioned the Phillies. That Red Sox game did go final with a 5-4 victory. The Yankees are beating the Orioles now 6-1 still. That one in the bottom of the eighth. Reds are beating up on the Cubs now 3-0. That one there in the bottom of the fourth. The Royals beating the Guardians 6-2. That one in the they just finished up the eighth inning. We have the Cardinals still beating the Brewers 4-1. That one in the seventh. The Dodgers with an offensive explosion. They're now up 8-2. That one in the bottom of the fifth. White Sox, Angels, Braves, Mariners, and Padres and Giants are all underway in the first inning. The Braves did get a run.
Drake Baldwin.
A Drake Baldwin home run to kick off the game. Speaking of the offense, so they're already off to their usual start.
They can have maybe six guys in the starting lineup at the All-Stars right now. all
Yeah.
infield positions, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, it is
Good those
entirely
Braves are.
possible with the way that they have been playing. And I'm checking something just out of curiosity to see who they're going to be using in right field. Eli White is who they have in right
Eli
field
White, okay.
today. Um, they have Dubon in center, so they're not using Harris. Mateo's filling in at shortstop. So playing around with the lineup a little bit, but hey, like I said, like we said, you can afford to do that when you are
Sure.
25-10. We are going to jump down a level here to the minor leagues. Of course, minor league action is now well underway, and guys are starting to mash here. I'm going to kick it off with my highlight, which is the Dodgers calling up top prospect Bryce Eldridge, number 1 in the organization, number 20 overall, to the big league club, along with catcher/third baseman, interesting combination, Jesus Rodriguez. So both of those guys joining the major league team that is struggling and does need to shake things up a bit. And maybe Eldridge. Now, Eldridge had been called up late last year. Then I believe he was 20 then, now 21. So still a very young prospect, but incredible hitting and power upside for him. He hit 25 home runs last year across three levels of the minors. So
I'm interested in that move as well. The Giants need something. We thought maybe the manager, bringing in a new manager that hadn't coached, in Major League Baseball before could be something to kind of light a fire under these guys. Patrick Bailey hitting a $152. That's the reason why they're making this move right now. So, a lot of disappointment with the production that they're getting from the catcher spot right now. So we'll see if that happens. Yep. I like that as well. That was what I wanted to kind of touch on was starting to see these prospects making their way early onto these major league rosters here as we begin the month of May.
Yep, absolutely. There was another one I saw here. He's a little bit further down. Obviously another sort of minor league news with the Yankees optioning Anthony Volpe down to the minor leagues. That was an interesting move there. The Marlins called up prospect Joe Mack, MLB Pipeline's number 54 overall prospect. So he will be joining the big league team. He was also the 2024 minor league gold glove winner. So somebody with a great glove, if anything.
Oh, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, shoot, look, if you can only play defense, there's still a spot for you in Major League Baseball.
Did you see this stat that Yankees rookie pitcher Elmer Rodriguez, his cousins, finished first and second, the riding jockeys at the Kentucky Derby this last weekend.
Very case. good for them. That's incredible. That was an amazing Kentucky Derby finish.
Yes, it was.
Side note, obviously we are not a horse racing show, but that was an incredible race and an incredible finish. So congratulations to any other minor league notes. Not a super active week, I'm noticing.
Not really. Just here locally that the Lake Elsinore Storm are currently on a 5-game winning streak, having taken the last 5 of a 6-game road stand in Ontario. It's not often that you play a 6-game series, but this one was, hey, let's just get them all out of the way in 1 week. But Lake Elsinore Storm starting to play a little good ball. And I like to, continue watching them. Obviously they're close here to me. They're the, single A affiliate for the San Diego Padres. So we see a lot of guys come in making rehab starts. And the future of these guys, we've seen guys like Chris Paddock play at Elsinore, Leo DeVries, who's now, with the A's, and they're talking about moving him maybe from shortstop to third base. We could see if that happens as well. But yeah, the Lake Elsinore Storm, good for them. 5-game winning streak right now. And not a whole heck of a lot elsewise, going on in the minor leagues that I could think of right now.
Yeah, I cannot speak as highly of my local minor league team, the Durham Bulls, currently sitting at
Ooh,
11-22 with a 3-game losing streak. So the
all right.
AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays is not doing so great. But hey, the big league club is doing amazing. So maybe it's just a byproduct of, I guess all the talent has to trend upwards eventually, right? So
That's right.
uh, yeah, so not great news there, but hey, there's still lots of season left
There
in
is.
that
Yeah.
regard. So with that, we are going to jump down to the minor league ranks, and we're going to kick it off with baseball because I think we're going to want to spend a little bit more time talking softball here. But with baseball, of course, we had all the action this past weekend. Freddie, what stood out to you with the results here?
Uh, you know what? Just UCLA's dominance again.
Yeah.
They win another series, sweeping Michigan State on the road. And I had a little friendly discussion on Instagram prior to coming on this show. Somebody was talking about and put up a stat that UCLA has the record now for the most consecutive weeks sitting at number 1 at 13 weeks. And I
Mm.
have this right here. Let me pull this up here. I took a screenshot of it because I wanted to share this here. Give me 1 second here. The second longest was the 23 LSU team, and then UCLA again in 2019 with 11 consecutive weeks at number 1. This UCLA team is by far the best that I have seen, and that brought up the discussion because people are throwing it at me. Oh, look at the conference they're in. I'm like, okay, they're not an SEC team. They're not playing in the Big 12. They're playing in the Big 10, which is weaker. For baseball. But you still have to go through and play the games and win the games. And that's what they're doing at a record of 43-4. I mean, that's quite possibly the best college baseball team that we have seen in quite some time. And if they can go on and win the College World Series, they can shut all the critics up because it doesn't matter because you're going to be playing teams from all those other conferences when you get to the tournament. So that being said, let's just have UCLA, they are good. Give them credit for that. It's not their fault that they're not in the big conference.
Yeah, and by the way, that they're passing an LSU baseball team that had Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz, and Tommy White on it. So that is not an easy mode to do. Yeah, no, absolutely crushing it. LSU, North Carolina sweeping Duke, always a big deal for no matter who is doing well
Bragging
and
rights.
who isn't doing well. Always good for whoever comes out on top in that series.
Do you ever have a chance to get out and see any of the college games?
When I was in college, yeah.
Okay.
I guess not really anymore. Yeah, I cannot say I've actually been to a college game. Gosh, it's probably been about 10 years now since I've been to a college sporting event of any kind. But hey, look, the atmosphere is just as electric nonetheless, floating around. One interesting series I did see, we had 8-seed Auburn versus 7-seed Texas A&M, and Auburn took 2 of 3 in that one. So that was a great one for them. That jumped them up from 8 to 6. Texas A&M only dropped a couple of spots, so not a major loss there. Some other scores: Texas versus Mississippi State. That was a top 10 matchup. Texas took 2 of those.
Yeah.
2 out of 3. Georgia Tech continues their incredible run. They beat up on Xavier. So yeah. So still some great stuff. We're still a few weeks out from the College World Series. We're not quite there yet. So we'll just keep tracking these teams as they go along. Florida State with a nice sweep over the weekend as well. So
very nice. Yeah, that was a really good weekend for them. One team that I've seen, over the last few weeks is Kansas. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, they weren't ranked at all. They have played outstanding baseball. They were ranked 11th last week. They jumped into the top 10 now at number 7, 37-11 overall. Kansas Jayhawks baseball team playing really good right now. That's going to be a fun team to watch in the Big 12, tournament to see exactly, them play, what kind of seeding they can get. They're probably going to be hosting, their regional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yeah, and you're getting into those discussions now, getting into those top rankings, and especially in your, doing well in your postseason tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be key. Obviously, I can't foresee a scenario where UCLA doesn't host a regional. And
No,
you figure you probably have, assuming they continue their runs, UNC and Georgia Tech will be in those discussions easily. But once you get past those teams, you start to get in some of these teams. Does Coastal Carolina get to host a regional again?
yeah,
Do some of these
exactly.
teams, if they go on a run, do some of these like 9, 12, 13 ranked SEC teams, if they go on a run in the SEC tournament, do they get to host? Could Florida State, if they go on a run and beat some of these top ACC teams, do they get to host a
Mm-hmm.
regional? Those are the conversations that you're about to see. Of course, there are 16 of them, so there's a lot of possibilities there. One
Definitely.
thing I noticed, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong, this is the second straight week where no teams have dropped out of or jumped into the top 25. It's the same 25, just rearranged.
Just
I thought that was
rearranged.
a
Yeah.
interesting little factoid there. But of course, the big topic in college sports involving a bat and a ball specifically has to be college softball, who we are entering. I think we are either in or entering, depending on the conference you're in, conference championship week
Yes.
for college softball. Very important week. Selection Sunday for the regionals is coming up in now 6 days on Mother's Day, appropriate.
Yep. On the 10th. Yep.
So I guess the conversation is now, who are we watching as we enter into this upcoming very exciting week for softball?
Oh, I think Oklahoma's really stamped their spot as the number one overall team. Just a couple of weeks ago, even last week in the rankings, that there had been a couple of teams taking away first place votes. Oklahoma, after these latest rankings, at 46-6, the unanimous number one overall right now. And yeah, those tournaments are going to be great. Look at the standings here in the rankings. You've got an SEC, Big 10, SEC, Big 12, SEC, Big 10, SEC, SEC. Just dominating
Yep.
with 6 teams in the top 10 right now of women's softball. And like you said, Selection Sunday coming up this Sunday, the 10th, and then the regionals start, I believe, on the 15th. So we're right in the thick of things here. This is when the stuff, takes it up another notch, because this is where it matters.
Yep, absolutely, for sure. Of course, I've got my eye there on the Florida State Seminoles.
Sure.
Update on them. They are certainly sitting at 46-8, which is a great record for them. Obviously, you've got Oklahoma. Also, Tennessee. We had talked about Tennessee a lot of the season, and they were off to
Especially
that
the
hot
pitching.
start.
Yeah.
Yeah, with all of their pitching, which was incredible. But now here they stand at they've dropped a little bit in the rankings. They've started to lose a couple of games. The pitching overall is still very good with a 1.32 team ERA, but just not quite as dominant as you would have hoped. Given their start, but I think at one point we checked and they had a team ERA, what was like 0.5 or 0.6,
Yeah, it was some
something like
minuscule
that.
number. Yeah.
Something absolutely absurd. Any other notes as we move into championship week for softball?
No, nothing really. I mean, I want to see how the women's Bruins do as well. They're
Yep.
ranked 6th right now, but they're going to be going into Big 10 conference tournament play here. I think that begins on Wednesday. Let me double check. Yeah, but now you're getting into all the conference tournament games. This is going to be a busy week, as those teams that are just on the fringe of being an at-large, have to win their conference tournaments in order to get in. So we'll see what happens. I expect all the teams that are, within the top 20, top 15 to get their automatics. And then, I don't know how many out of the 64 do they choose. I would guess probably 40, and then the rest of the conferences determine the remainder.
Yeah, that seems to be about the going rate. Not too dissimilar, I would say, from the
Like the men.
basketball
Basketball,
brackets,
yeah.
and how those break down. I do want to highlight Jazzy Francic, I hope I'm pronouncing that last name right, of the Florida State softball team through her third no-hitter
Third.
of the
Oh.
season this past Friday. And by the way, man, if you want to pick a time to get hot, this is the time that you
heck
want
yeah.
your routine Friday pitcher to start getting hot, and that's in both sports.
That's third of the season.
Third of the season.
What's I'm usually pulling stats and records out of my head, but what's the record for most no hitters thrown by a D1 pitcher in a season?
Let's take a look.
I want to know now, because this is outstanding.
All right. Well, no, that's.
Let's see.
Let's see. Apologies for the dead air time while we look this up. Looks like Monica Abbott, who threw. Okay, that's for a career. She threw 23 no-hitter in her career at Tennessee.
Okay, here we go. I got it.
You got it?
Michelle Granger of Cal in 1993 had 9 no-hitters in one season.
That's a lot of no-hitters.
And she holds the record in D1 with 25 career no-hitters. So, I mean, we're talking about just...
That's absurd.
The most elite of elite that you can get. Right? 9 no-hitters in one.
Yeah, forget about Francic's 3 no-hitters. That's just... That's nothing now. We've just diminished it down to nothing.
Holy crap, that's crazy.
It is absurd. Well, we have come to the conclusion of our show, which means we are time for our Around the Diamond segment. And Freddie B, I'm going to let you lead off because I might get a little ranty this week in mine. So I'm going to let you kick it off here.
I'm not going to get ranty or anything like that, but I am going to pose a question, Mike. And this is something that I was just thinking about the other night after watching these games and, watching how bad some of these umpires are still. We talk about ABS almost every week, but we have to because they got to make improvements on the umpiring side as well. But what is stopping, obviously, cheating? Like we've seen, with the Astros and having an earpiece or some kind of device connected to you. They have pitch comm for pitchers and catchers. What's stopping MLB from putting little earpieces or something in a batter's helmet, similar to like an NFL quarterback's helmet where they get the plays called in, which would give them a buzz or a signal for them to automatically challenge the pitch? Because I've seen so many of these just get, just ignored. Even the blatant balls and strikes missed. Like, do you think they would ever get to that point where there might be something like somebody's watching in a room, obviously with, the batter's eye and the strike zone and everything on it, and instantly they can hit a button, boom, tap your head. Do you think they can get away with it?
It would have to be something that they would have to perfect pretty quickly. I think before that became a widespread problem, I think the more likely evolution of the ABS is they find some way to evolve on the stance of the challenge system by just having some way that it's automatically done on every pitch.
But have umpires wearing meta glasses that have the strike zone on it within the lenses or something like that.
or even like you said, for the batters to have a comm, what would stop the umpires from having a comm? And there's somebody sees the pitch, they have the box, and they just
it was just something I had thought of the other night. Like how, I mean, they could instantly do it, and they could be successful 100% of the time if they can get away with it. Like, who's stopping it from happening?
here has always been my feeling about new rule implementations, and I think this is a perfect example. What the leagues, and this is universal across all sports, is that they should take their rule proposals and they should send it down to all of the managers or coaches, or maybe like a handful of them, and give them a week and tell them, hey, how could you exploit this based on the way it's written so that we can turn around and avoid it being exploited?
Yeah.
And and maybe some managers might be like, oh wait, I can't exploit that. Meanwhile, they've got like 8 different ways they exploit it. But ideally,
I was just, it was just something that came to me. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, why can't they just put a little a piece in a helmet, secretly, and
yeah.
you
Oh, no, you're not wrong for thinking that way. You have that mindset, and we've all seen it. Teams are going to find a way to try to get the advantage, right? That's what it's all about. Because I mean, these are all talented ball players. Across the league, mostly it's pretty even talent wise. Aside from a few slight variations here and there, and then of course injuries, but.
Right.
Teams are always going to try to gain that competitive advantage to put them over the top. So, no, you're not wrong for thinking that way.
Just throwing it out there.
Well, hopefully nobody's listening and taking the idea and going to implement it into their.
I wish I knew
thing.
I wish I knew how to do something like that, because I would.
Yeah, I'm gonna
want to
call
tinker
up
with something.
Mike Elias really quick. Hey, Elias, I got an idea for you. It might help you from.
I'm always looking for that
the team.
I need to get an edge, man.
Yeah, it might help the team from stinking up the joint. Which, by the way, yikes! Wow, that 8th inning did not go well. Final score: Yankees 12, Orioles 1. So that 8th inning did not go well. They like to do that blow up late in games, I've noticed. But anyways. My rant does have to do with the Orioles. I know it's the 2nd week in a row. I cannot guarantee it will be the last week in a row. This might be our winning streak here. First of all, absolutely atrocious series against the Yankees. 4-game sweep. Everything's going wrong right now. There has been one quality start by the team in the last week and a half. And Chris Bassett, I didn't think I'd be saying in 2026, thank God for Chris Bassett for the Orioles. Bullpen's falling apart. Offense isn't hitting except for like one game lately. But my biggest rant comes with a decision the organization made this past weekend. Now, they are in the beginning. Well, on Thursday, they had a doubleheader to finish off their series against the Astros. And that doubleheader kicked off a 2-week stretch where they have no days off. They're playing 15 games in 14 days. Rough stretch. So I understand, understandably, they've made some strategic moves, moving some pitchers around, sending guys down to the minors, calling guys up to fill in slots. The organization decided to call up top pitching prospect Trey Gibson to make his MLB debut on a Sunday afternoon in New York City against the Yankees. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a baseball manager or a GM or an owner. I don't have any profession involved with baseball, but strategically, it does not seem like the greatest idea to have your young pitcher make their start in that environment. Now, to Trey Gibson's credit, he did not let the pressure get to him. He pitched 4 2/3 innings, gave up 3 runs. Not an amazing start, but there were some goods. He had a couple of rough pitches. I think you mentioned it before the show. Cody Bellinger got a couple off of him, and he was actually in position to get a no decision. So he didn't get the loss because it was tied at 3 when he left, and then the bullpen came and blew it up, as they have done so commonly recently. But I wanted to get, there's always the, timing aspect that fans don't really think about. They just think, oh, we have this top prospect. He's doing great. Bring him up. But there is always a little bit of a timing aspect for calling up prospects, and maybe teams overthink it. Maybe they aren't strategic enough. But what are your thoughts on something like that, Freddie? Like the calling up your top pitching prospect to pitch his first game in Yankee Stadium against a red-hot Yankees team when your offense has been hitting about as well as, well, let's say you and I could go out there and probably produce about the same results.
That's a rude awakening getting thrown into that environment. I mean, you've already let's look at the series here. 16, 11, 20, 39 runs scored by the Yankees in the 4-game series. So let's just say the Yankees can put off big numbers offensively. What did they have to lose? I meant, unfortunately, you're going to get the start one way or the other. You're going to have to pitch there at some point in your career. Let's make the first game there, I guess. I don't know. Their bullpen was getting shelled all series. They needed that arm, and I think that's why he went the 4 2/3, just so they can give him a little bit of relief, because their bullpen was extremely taxed this weekend. It's not the most ideal of debuts, but I mean, you get called up to the majors, you're going to make the start, and he could have thrown a gem and won that game, but. Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll build his confidence. Went in there and kept it manageable. He pitched pretty good. According to the environment and that Yankees lineup. So, no, I don't have any problem with him getting the start. Obviously, you want to make your debut at home in front of your fans, but good on him for showing up and putting on a pretty decent performance.
Yeah, I'm just happy. And that's one of those things. It could have been a disaster. Making that start, and imagine, how the bullpen would have responded if, he had only gone 3 and they would have had to cover a full 5 to 6 innings. The only benefit of getting swept on the road is that you only pitch 8 innings every night. So in some ways, the bullpen got saved 4 innings by getting themselves shelled. Overall, Orioles, man, they need, I don't even know how you do it at this point. Maybe hold a players meeting. Maybe hold a team meeting. I don't know, man.
I don't know, because
change here, because it's starting to spiral a bit.
Look at it. Bradish went 4 innings on Saturday, and he gave up 5 earned.
Yep.
So they only got 4 innings out of their starting pitching Saturday. 4, couldn't make it to the 5th on Sunday. Let's look at how deep the starter.
Shane Baz was the first one in the series to make it to the 6th inning as a starter. He almost covered 6. He got a little bit of bad luck in the 6th inning. He could have gone 6 clean.
But Kate Povich went 4 innings on Friday. Again, 5 earned runs. Their pitching is terrible right now, Mike. Yep. And if you're the pitching coach or the manager right now, what are you saying to your ball club? You're the Orioles fan. You see this on a daily basis. What's your speech to get these guys going?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough speech. It's a tough speech to make, and especially for a rookie manager. Remember, Craig Albornoz is in his first year. So, hey, buddy, welcome to your first big league job. Oh, by the way, a team with incredible expectations is struggling. A bunch of young guys are on cold streaks. Go, like that's tough. I mean, I think the best way to do it is you have to build, just like you build up to a season, you have to build your way out of the slump. You're not going to fix it overnight. You're not going to get the team out there tomorrow and they're not going to be hitting 10 runs. You just have to find the problems, try to work on them, and see if you can't turn it around. And you have to go to Chris Bassett tomorrow and plead, Bassett, please go 6. Just go 6
just to give the bullpen a little bit of a break. Yeah,
exactly. Well, that will do it for tonight's show. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you to Chris Lehman and Brian Francinoni for jumping into the chat. Once again, if you're a fan of the show, please follow us on X at IESR_DMV and at Freddie B Sports. Freddie B_sports. Freddie, any parting thoughts?
No parting thoughts. I think we got some good action, some good matchups going on. We got some interdivisional games, Padres and Giants. I'm going to catch that right now. and just see how this week plays out. See what records can be broken. That's what I'm focusing on. What's the next record that could
keep
be
breaking records? Yeah.
But yeah, no, nothing other than that, Mike. Just enjoying a great week of baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoying a great week of baseball and keeping that eye on those softball games. That's going to be a real interesting development and a hot topic. Probably
we'll be breaking that down. Yeah, we'll be breaking that down next Monday because the tournament will be the selection committee will have that on Sunday. So we will have material to talk about that.
Yep. And of course, the regional games, for those of you who don't know, will be the following weekend. And then they're going to do the super regionals, and then we'll officially be in the World Series. So really exciting month, rest of the month for softball.
Very.
And pretty much right when that finishes up, I think you're either at or entering the regionals for the College World Series. So
exactly.
It's really going to be fun next month and a half here for college sports. Well, once again, thank you all for tuning in. This has been Freddie B and Mike Patt for the Bullpen Bulletin here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.